This is one of the hardest stories in Scripture to sit with. Not because it is unclear, but because it is painfully clear. The Bible does not rush through it. It does not soften it, and it does not turn away. This is the story of Amnon and Tamar, found in 2 Samuel chapter 13. And it is a story about desire that would not be ruled, words that were ignored, and consequences that did not come immediately, but came all the same. Amnon was the son of David. Tamar was his half-sister, the daughter of David by another wife. The Scripture says that Tamar was beautiful. And then it tells us something else, something more important. It says Amnon loved her. But the kind of love described here is already troubled, because Tamar was his sister, and because the law of God was clear. The text tells us Amnon was so tormented that he made himself sick, not because Tamar had done anything, but because his desire had nowhere righteous to go. Already Scripture is showing us something. Desire that cannot be fulfilled lawfully does not simply disappear. If it is not ruled, it begins to rule. Amnon did not act alone. He had a friend, Jonadab, a very shrewd man. And Jonadab asked him, "Why are you, the king's son, so lean from day to day? Will you not tell me?" Amnon told him the truth. "I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister." Jonadab's counsel was not restraint. It was strategy. He told Amnon to pretend to be ill, to ask King David to send Tamar to prepare food for him, to create a moment where refusal would be difficult. And David, unaware of what was being planned, sent Tamar. Scripture does not accuse David here, but it does not praise his discernment either. Tamar came to Amnon's house. She took dough. She kneaded it. She prepared the food in his sight. Everything about this moment is ordinary, safe, domestic. Then Amnon said, "Bring the food into the chamber that I may eat from your hand." And when she brought it to him, he took hold of her. This is where the story slows down. Tamar speaks. She says, "No, my brother, do not force me, for such a thing is not done in Israel. Do not do this disgraceful thing." She appeals to the law. She appeals to reason. She appeals to consequence. She says, "Where could I carry my shame? And as for you, you would be like one of the fools in Israel." Then she says something that matters deeply. "Please speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from you." Whether she was seeking delay, protection, or escape, Scripture does not say. What it does say is that she spoke. She resisted. She pleaded. But he would not listen to her voice. That sentence sits heavy in the text. He would not listen. Being stronger than she, he forced her and lay with her. The Bible does not describe the act. It names it, and it moves on. Then something changes. The Scripture says, Amnon hated her with a very great hatred, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, "Arise, go." Tamar said, "No, my brother, for this wrong in sending me away is greater than the other that you did to me." But he would not listen again. He called his servant and said, "Put this woman out of my presence and bolt the door after her." And Tamar went. She put ashes on her head. She tore the long robe she was wearing, the garment of a virgin daughter of the king. She laid her hand on her head and went away, crying aloud as she went. Scripture gives her grief space. It does not silence her pain. Her brother Absalom said to her, "Has Amnon your brother been with you? Now hold your peace, my sister. He is your brother. Do not take this to heart." And Tamar lived, a desolate woman, in her brother Absalom's house. The king, David, heard of all these things, and he was very angry. But the text does not tell us he acted. 2 full years pass. but he remembers. When the time comes, Absalom kills Amnon. And the sword David was told would never depart from his house continues its work. Amnon's desire destroyed Tamar's peace. It fractured the family. It led to bloodshed, and it left silence and exile in its wake. Scripture does not excuse Amnon. It does not rush to heal the moment. It shows us what happens when desire listens only to itself. And it also shows us something quieter. God did not look away. This story is preserved, not erased, named, not hidden, because God is not afraid of truth even when it is painful. For those who have suffered violation, this story says something without preaching it. God heard the voice that was not listened to. God saw the tears that fell outside. God recorded the injustice, even when earthly justice was slow. And for those tempted to excuse desire, to silence warning, or to mistake obsession for love, Scripture gives no shelter here. Love listens. Sin does not. This story does not end neatly, but it ends honestly. And sometimes that honesty is where God's work begins in us.